jug, get out the street. High speed chase might crash, gotta hop out on feet. Smash, gotta keep going.
All right, my man, Saus the boss. You know what I'm saying? This is my guy, but I ain't gonna say too much about it. I'm gonna let him talk for himself. Yeah. Can you just tell me about yourself and who you are? You know?
Yeah, man. Salasie Kallon. Born in Jersey, grew up in Prince George's County, Lanham. I'm a multi-hyphenate like a lot of these people in these rooms. I curate, I culture create, I events and visuals and branding and I just try to make things work. I try to make everybody around me look good, so I can look good. That's what I do.
Absolutely, yeah, you really good at that too. I give you kudos for that. You a guy, you put the battery in a lot of people back.
Appreciate
you know what I'm saying? But in terms of just everything going on, when did your acting career begin? What got you started, and are there any other projects that you have been a part of?
Oh yeah, well I've never before this I can never say I acted on film, but I did theater 2 years in high school. I did Footloose, which was a musical. I did 2 musicals, Footloose and Urinetown, in high school. And those were like my first forays into acting. And I loved it so much just because, I did it with my best friend and we just were so good at it. We were just having fun up there that I just knew one day in my life, if I got the opportunity, I would love to continue acting. So literally like 18 years later, like, I'm here, Dreamy, you asked me to, be in this movie, I said, of course.
Absolutely. So, just diving a little bit into your character, just so like everybody knows like who you played, this, that, and the third. As far as Street Ninja, The Dark Kingdom, can you tell us about your character and any motivations or particular goals that your character has or had?
Yeah, 100%. I play a detective, like the lead detective kind of in the movie, trying to figure out the connection between, the street ninja, all the murders that's happening in my city, the mayor. I'm just trying to, I'm trying to be the good guy, in this and keep myself pure in the midst of all this corruption that's happening in my city. I'm Detective Saus. They call me Detective Saus. Man, I gotta be honest, right? So originally this part in this movie was not mine, right? This movie was, my late, great friend of, 20 years, Neal McDonald. He was supposed to play this part. So even, when Dreemy asked me to do it, it was actually after a very emotional time in our lives. We had just lost Neal. And when he asked me to do it, I was actually honored, because, it's crazy. Like, I didn't even meet him through Neal. But when we, figured out that we knew Neal, it was like we were just figuring out all these things about, where we was and where he was during us just growing up and where I was with Neal growing up. So I just felt like I had to do it for him. I felt like, I knew Neal to want to be an actor for most of his life. Most of the time I knew him, the fact that, he couldn't be here to do this. I just knew I had to honor his name, and every time I did a line, every time I dressed up, every time I did something on behalf of this movie. So I'm really doing it for him. Just want to make sure I honor him the right way.
Yeah, so what was more specifically, what was your approach to embodying the essence of your character? Did you have a specific method, or was there anything me as the director or anything that kind of helped you flesh out, just any method that helped you embody your character? Can you kind of just explain a little bit of that for us?
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna lie. When you told me to watch, I could be a part of the movie. I went and watched Training Day. You know what I mean? I went and watched Bad Boys. I just went and watched some of the great actors who played cops of our time, so I could just pull from them. Because we've seen really good renditions of just down to earth cops. Who keep their morality but still keep their cultural side. And I wanted to make sure that even though I'm playing a detective and playing on a cop, I'm still down to earth. I'm still a man of the community. I still want, to be like that law enforcement that grew up with the people that I might be trying to, go against or get off the streets or even help get off the streets in a better way. I just wanted to be that medium and not just somebody who's trying to lock everybody up. So I think that was a big part of me trying to learn this role. I wanted to be a law enforcement officer, whereas even if a child was watching the movie, they would understand like you don't have to be like a crack just trying to lock everybody up and be better than them because they was cooler than you in high school. I wanted to be somebody who was also like cool with them in high school that say, you know what, I'm just on the other side of the tracks. I want to talk to you like, we know each other, but I want to make sure that I at least give you the option to get out the life.
Yeah. Wow, you actually described your character better than I could have described him, really. So kudos to you. But moving forward, how was it working with me, Dreemy, throughout this filming process? Anything that stood out about my directing style or method? Anything that comes to mind?
Well, I got to go back to like how you and I even met. So I do an event called Payola, which I try to help. Not help, but I try to look for artists, do music, and try to get them to premiere their music with local DJs in the area so we can premiere their music and just increase their visibility. So that's the way I met, you Dream. I met you through like loving your music, you know what I mean? And understanding, loving the vibe and feeling that you really had some great records. You did me the honor of performing at my payola and you had a hell of a performance. I still go back and watch that to this day. You interviewed with us as well that day. So fast forward to when we're doing the movie, I just knew that I was like, I'm not dealing with somebody regular, so I got to make sure that I bring my A game because I see where you're going and with the level that you're trying to bring about this movie. So I just wanted to make sure that I honored all the sacrifices you were making to all the money that you were spending, all the time that you was putting in, just to give like some good art, good work, and bring all these people together. It was really important. And, just like I was just admiring that process because I know it takes a lot just to get all those people together, make an album for the project, continuously not only be a director, but like I said, a editor or a husband, like, what I'm saying? Like all these things, like, so I just had to make sure that I didn't want you to waste your time and money because I know how much of a sacrifice that is, you know what I mean? And once I got on the set, you and your wife working together, it was just very inspiring to see how much y'all put into it. So I think y'all made everybody just want to be super professional. And you demanded that we demand out of ourselves, like, more of a professionalism that comes with, a real movie set.
So throughout the filming process, were there any challenges you faced while filming the movie? What was the hardest part about filming the movie for you? I guess in addition to like the schedule I have and the things I'm trying to do, just making sure I showed up and I showed up on my A game, making sure I remember my lines, making sure like my fit was right, just trying to make sure I put my best foot forward. I never wanted to leave the set feeling like I didn't do good enough or it was a scene that I didn't like out of myself. I wanted to make sure that I delivered on my scene no matter what. So I think that, and like I said, just trying to find a time out of my schedule because as time all goes, we all getting busier, things are popping up, just trying to make sure I was there for the process and I could show up once I committed. I think that was the most important thing to me. Sweet. So with all of the days, because you had quite a bit of scenes to shoot for the movie. I can't really say the actual number, but I know it was quite a few. It was a lot.
For sure.
So I appreciate you for that, first off.
For sure.
And I want to say, the next question I want to ask is, what was your favorite day of filming? Were there any scenes that you shared with other actors that you enjoyed the most? Did anybody pull anything special out of you? Whether it could be the director, it could have been one of the actors, but yeah, that's the question.
Yeah, I think I got like two favorite scenes, but the first one gotta be when everybody was there under the train tracks the first time. You brought it was so many people there. It was like by the new train tracks. It was like, because I saw everybody come out. I saw how many people were really a part of it. I think that's when you really get a sense like damn, like there's so many people who want to see this work and see this do well. I think that was my favorite day. Just seeing people come together in that way is inspiring because in the DMV, it's hard to bring people together. Everybody got their own little thing, a set of questions, or why, who are going to be there, or why should I? Or everybody just doesn't want to think of things as big as they could be. You know what I mean? They were very pessimistic in that way. So when I saw so many people there enthused and happy and just coming out their element, it was very inspiring because, that's what you want to see out of your city. You want to see people come together. You want to see people look really good on high quality cameras, right? You want to see people step outside their zones, whether if they're artists or you an actor today. You know what I mean? And, growing up in the 90s, you used to see rappers become movie stars and stuff like that. So I kind of felt like I was at the precipice of like something I would be talking about like 15, 20 years from now and say, you know what, this is where it started. This is where I saw a lot of it started. This is where I saw this person. It was like 20, 25 people, 30. So it's like for a film like, you know, like this, that, you know, everybody's just pulling together resources. It's amazing, man. I never want that to be understated, man. When you can bring that many people together, they're not getting paid in certain circumstances. Like you got to be, it means they all respect the person who's doing the art. You know what I mean? So that was really great. And then my second favorite scene was the interrogation scene because I got to do my, you know, up, right? And I love that part. So, you know, I love that scene.
Yeah, so next question. What is something that you will always carry with you now that filming is over?
I mean, honestly, just the fact that this was like my first one and the fact that I did this for Neal, you know what I mean? Like, I think I always carry that with me. I always honor him through that. Like, if this ever goes, you know, if this never goes nowhere past this movie, or if it goes all the way and one day I find myself just continuing to act, I'm gonna just always remember this was the first opportunity I got. You know what I mean? I did it with somebody that I really respect and I got a lot of love for. We both Sierra Leone, you know what I'm saying? We both like got a lot of stake in it. We both doing it for our brother, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I think I remember it's so sentimental that it's like, you know, it's like God put this together. So I'll always remember this. It's like one of my favorite memories in my life.
How do you feel about your character and how does it relate to you or the community you grew up in?
Oh, 100%. I think my character is me. I'm not gonna lie. I think, you know, I would usually be that friend who is like cool, still come from nothing, like everybody else. But I would always try to be the positive friend. You know what I'm saying? I would always be the voice of reason. I would always try to, steer my people to better directions. If my friends is doing something, I'm not doing it with them. You know what I mean? Like, I would always be that person. You know what I'm saying? Not saying I always want to be a cop, because I never wanted to be a cop. But I always wanted to be a person that, could just like help guide my friends to, a better direction, a better route, positivity. And I think, Detective Saus, like, being the fact that he was one of he was like less corrupt than everybody in the movie. I identified with that, I just wanted to keep your heart pure, knowing that everything's not a straight line, but knowing that you want to make sure you keep it as straight as possible. Making sure going to school with all the hood dudes and dudes that, might have found themselves in crime. But, when you meet them, when we speak face to face, I'm not really judging you like that. I'm judging you like, man, we grew up together, man. You know what I mean? And I think that's like, we parallel in that way 100%. All
right. So what was the atmosphere on set? Or what was going through your mind as you were getting your scenes done? For real?
Like I said, just making sure you never want to be the person who don't come correct. You never want to be the person who just not prepared. But like the atmosphere was just amazing. Like I said, I felt like I'm looking at Dream direct and be the lead main actor. I'm looking at dudes like Bo, who like is just like a natural, like it's like a crazy natural at acting. You know what I mean? I'm looking at dudes like, Jay, who I respect outside of the film, who's just showing up, and I'm just seeing people come together and just trying to find a way to be good at a craft that they're not familiar with, you know what I mean? So the atmosphere was just always very encouraging. I said, you felt like you're doing something special, it's like when you're doing something special, you feel it in the energy, like you just feel like something special is happening here. So you can't tell what's gonna happen, but you just feel the energy of like, okay, this is gonna be special, right? Like no matter what people get from this, there's gonna be something powerful to be gained from this. And so I just knew, just always, be engaged, right? You don't never want to be that person who's not engaged or feel like they're better in the process.
For sure. It actually brings us to our next question. Like, can you try to at least pinpoint exactly when did you realize that you were a part of something special? Like when did you realize, all right, this movie, like, for real. I mean, it could be at any point in time, but like, just when did it click for you? Yeah, no, when I, like I said, after the first time I was on set and I actually saw myself do the lines, like when we was at the interrogation thing with my mob star, who plays mob star, me actually looking at myself on camera, looking at that scene, it was like, oh, okay, wow, like, because, quality is going to show you everything. You know what I mean? So when I saw the quality, I was like, okay, this is going to be something. Like, even if it's like a Tubi movie, it's going to be one of the top 2 movies on Tubi. You know what I'm saying? Like, make the Amazon Prime, it's going to be one of the top on there. So I wanted to, like, I just knew from seeing myself and seeing my scenes, I was like, I was proud of my scenes. You know what I mean? So for me to be proud of my scenes and just be proud of the quality, I just knew that if everybody's scene looked like this, and one thing I like about this movie is that, like, even though I have like a really, like,
I have a really substantial part. There's a lot of people in this movie with substantial parts. So you get to see everybody shine in their own way. You know what I mean? So I think I was like, if everybody got a part like I feel about my part, oh, it's gonna be crazy.
For sure. All right, and then the last question, I guess it's the last question. I want to ask. Well, no, actually, the next one's not a question. But anyway, between the movie and the experience, what are you expecting to see at the premiere?
I mean, I think I expect to see, you know, a lot of the people, you know, who always supported each other, you know, come out. You know, some, like I said, the future legends of the DMV, people who doing their thing now, who currently in pocket, people who about to get in pocket. I just think that if you grew up in the DMV, if you know anybody that's a part of this movie, and we all know a lot of people collectively, like, I really feel like you should just show up just to show love. I think, you know, this is gonna kind of remove that barrier in your mind that, like, you know, like, and just make you understand that anything is possible. You know what I mean? Like, we have to keep like pushing that barrier. We can never feel like, oh, we don't have enough to do this, or I don't have like, you know what I'm saying? We were just having this conversation the other day. It's like, it don't matter what we got, we still got to do it. You know what I mean? Because it's in our hearts to do. And, you know, if God gave the vision, it's going to manifest, you know, if you do your part and play your half in it. God going to put his half in, you got to put your half in. So I think everybody's going to see that. Everybody's going to be happy. I think everybody's going to be inspired because, once again, like I think like both said, it's like I don't think we've ever seen a movie like this with this type of story, with these type of elements. I love, like, I hate when Hollywood feels like it gets redundant, and I feel like this is a new story. You know what I mean? Like, this is a new story that can, you know, just respark people's minds, and I think this can kind of usher in a new wave of stories. You know what I'm saying? That come from people who inspire. You might inspire somebody who wants to direct their own stuff. You might want to inspire somebody who wants to be an actor in their own stuff, and you know what I mean? And I think, you know, this is just gonna get people off their ass and get to it. For sure.
And then in terms of the premiere, just promote it real quick. You know what I'm saying? Let everybody know where we at, where it's gonna be at, what day the premiere is, and this, that, and the third.
For sure. Well, you know, the premiere is June 18th at the Bethesda Theater. We call it the home of black music, you know what I'm saying? But it's a historical theater. It used to be an actual movie theater. So, you know, it's really deep. You know, it serves as a supper club now, so it's very fly, it's very gangster, it's very sexy. You know, I want everybody in the DMV, if you know Dreemy, if you know me, if you know Jay, you know both, you know anybody a part of the movie that you see in the movie, right? We need you to show up. And like I said, it's gonna be a red carpet. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be a red carpet event. It's gonna be a star-studded event. We're gonna have people. We're gonna have, like I said, the future leaders, the future people who gonna hold up the DMV. They're all gonna be there, and you know, we just get a chance to celebrate each other and you know, celebrate the future. Because one thing I know is that this is not like the end; it's like the beginning for a lot of folks. You know what I mean? Especially a part of this. So please come watch the movie. Please come see me in my first part. Please come support Dream. Don't only listen to the, you know, watch the movie, listen to the soundtrack. Support everybody a part of the movie because everybody really brought their A game. And yo, you know, I can't wait to see you there. Just follow me also, Salasie the Boss. Follow my company, Yours Inc. And you know, if you want, you know, if you need work, just holler at me. I'm here, I'm around. You know, let's get.